Hola, Facebook. It's Beto here, your daily divinity coach, here for episode 4 of my weekly series, Sunday Weekly Revival. I do this every Sunday, beginning at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So I'm going to go ahead and allow people to join. But again, this is Beto here, your daily divinity coach, here for my weekly series on Facebook Live called Sunday Weekly Revival. Yay, we got first one showed. Healy. Hello, Healy. I'm sure others will be joining soon, but I do this series every Sunday. I actually do it first on Instagram live chat, and then a half an hour later here on Facebook Live. But here on Facebook Live, it's 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so here on the East Coast, I'm in Boston, and 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time there on the West Coast. And then a half an hour before that, I'm on Instagram live chat. We have another one. Hello, Rasheen. So we have some people joining, so we're just going to give a little time for people to join, and then we'll get on to it. I see a thumbs up. Thank you. But again, this is Beto. Hola, your daily divinity coach, here for episode 4. And episode 4 of my Sunday Weekly Revival series is entitled Miracles Amidst a Pandemic. So again, episode 4, Miracles Amidst a Pandemic, here on Facebook Live. So just going to give a few more seconds and then we'll go on and get started here. Thank you. I see a rising heart. That's so cute. But again, so just a second about what I do. So in addition to these weekly Sunday revivals live, I also post daily. I do daily posts, written posts. In addition to that, I provide bracelets to my followers. So these are 3 bracelets. The first one reads Manifest Justice. The second one, Manifest Abundance. And the third one, Manifest Immortality. And I give these away for free to my followers with a caveat, shipping outside the U.S. can be expensive. So as long as you have a U.S. shipping address and you want one, just IM me. If you have my phone number, text me and I'll send you out a set of 3 bracelets. You don't have to wear all 3 like I do. It would be awesome if you do. But I'll go ahead and get you out a set of the bracelets. In addition, I do one-on-one one-on-one divinity coaching. So if you'd like one-on-one coaching, I can do that. The first 45 minutes are free. Typically, that's all people know, because watching me live and reading my posts is usually enough if you get those 45 minutes. And then, and I'll talk about this a little bit more at the end, but what I'm offering in addition, an additional service is if you'd like a prayer request, I'll go ahead and do that. You can IM me, or if you have my phone number, text me, and I'll go ahead and say a scientific prayer for you. I have a secret weapon that I can leverage, and go ahead and more than happy to do that for you. I'm not a televangelist. I'm not asking for money. Everything I do is self-sponsored. I'm blessed with a good job that covers all of my expenses, thankfully, and so I'm able to do this without any sponsors. I sponsored all myself. So I'm going to go ahead and take off my glasses now, reading glasses, and we're going to go ahead and get started with today's talk. So episode 4, Miracles Amidst the Pandemic. So I wanted to start by talking about the ultimate miracle. The ultimate miracle is performed by a man, some refer to as the Messiah, right, the Savior. Others refer to this man as a prophet, right? I'm a pluralist. I have followers that are atheist. I have followers that are Protestant. I have followers that are Hindu. I have followers that are Catholic. I have followers that are Buddhist, that are spiritual, that are atheist, that are agnostic, that just simply like fitness and yoga and eating healthy and loving the environment. I mean, all kinds. So I'm a pluralist. I minister to everybody. I work with everybody. So in that regard, I refer to this man as the great teacher. But again, others refer to him as the Savior, the Messiah, others a prophet. I use the great teacher. But nonetheless, the person I'm referring to is Jesus of Nazareth. And Jesus of Nazareth performed the ultimate miracle when he raised himself from the dead after 3 days. Not only did he raise himself from the dead, he raised others from the dead too. one of his good friends, Lazarus, died. Jesus raised Lazarus from the dead, right? The great teacher raised Lazarus from the dead, in addition to himself and others. And that's the greatest. That's the ultimate miracle, right? Raising yourself from the dead. What was the great teacher demonstrating to us in performing that miracle? Here's what he was performing. Here was what he was demonstrating. He was demonstrating that death is an untruth. All right? I'm not saying it's not real. It's an untruth. What do I mean by that? Here's the truth. You are life. What do I mean by that? The divine, right? And whether you want to call the divine God, Allah, the universe, the source, the great spirit, the great mystery, well, however you refer to the divine, I use the divine because, again, I'm a pluralist. I minister to everybody. But the divine, we are created in the image of the divine, and the divine is life. The divine is health. The divine is abundant wealth, right? The divine is justice. The divine is not institutional racism. The divine is not police brutality. The divine is not COVID-19. The divine is not coronavirus. The divine is not pandemic. The divine is not 48 million jobless claims in the U.S. alone, right? The divine is not those things. The divine is not poverty. The divine is life. The divine is not aging. The divine is youth, right? The divine is abundant wealth, abundant health. The divine is all of those things. And because we're created in the image of the divine, that means that's what we are. We are life. So what the man I call the great teacher, when he died and rose from the dead, when he resurrected Lazarus and others as well, what he was saying is, you are life. He was unveiling truth. That was the miracle. Okay, so we're in the middle of a pandemic. This episode is entitled Miracles Amidst a Pandemic, right? So what is the truth? The truth and reality, again, are two different things. So I'll start with the reality. The reality is we're in a surge, right? What is it, 50,000 coronavirus cases now daily across the United States? Unbelievable numbers. It's 11,500 plus, if I'm not mistaken, in Florida, entering the July 4th weekend in one state, in Florida. Unbelievable numbers, right? That's reality, but that's not truth. Talking a little bit more about Florida. Jimenez, the mayor down there in Florida, in South Florida, Miami, he had to institute a curfew, right, from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. to try and curb this surge. Another South Florida mayor announced house parties are the most dangerous things, right? Why? Because they've closed the bars, they've closed the nightclubs, but now it's the house parties is where all this surge is coming from. There's somebody who knew something about house parties. Tomas Macias. I know some of you watching are from California. He's from Lake Elsinore, California, just outside of Los Angeles. Tomas was isolating. He was doing a good job. He was socially distancing, right? He was following the guidelines, doing everything he was supposed to do, but he was getting lonely. He was feeling very isolated, and his friends invited him to this barbecue, right? This house party. And Macias went. He had underlying conditions. He knew he wasn't supposed to go, but he attended anyhow. Later, he wrote on Facebook that he regretted attending. He was sick. He got coronavirus. He got COVID-19. The next day, he passed away. One of the people who knew they had been infected attended that party and actually called to apologize shortly before Macias passed away. Why am I saying this? COVID-19 is real. We have the numbers. It's reality, but it's not truth. Nonetheless, we're not supposed to put the divine to the test. I just rhymed there. What do I mean by that? Bishop Glenn is a bishop down in Chesterfield, Virginia. When the pandemic started, the guidelines came out. Bishop Glenn said, I'm not going to stop preaching. Despite the social distancing guidelines, I believe I'm health. I believe I believe the divine can save me from the COVID-19, and I'm going to preach until I end up in jail or I end up in the hospital. This story resonates with me. The reason why is because those of you who've read my posts, who've talked to me, who've watched my live series, know that I profess immortality. Not only that, but I'm in phenomenal shape. I'm in excellent health. And but nonetheless, I adhere to the guidelines. Why? Because they're guidelines. The public health officials are telling me, please do this. I do it. Am I happy about it? Am I excited about it? Not really, no. But I am happy that I understand others don't have the faith that I do. And I want to protect others. I care about others. I love about others. And I know my theology. I'm not going to put the divine to the test, right? So Bishop Glenn, again, I am going to preach and, whatever these social distancing guidelines, I'm just going to go forth and proclaim the gospel and until I'm either in jail or in the hospital. He ends up in the hospital and unfortunately passes away. So again, the lesson there is don't put the divine to the test. We are at a critical stage with this coronavirus, with this COVID-19. If we don't stop this surge now, the fall could look very different from the one we hope to have, which is kids getting back to school, right? We need to get kids educated again. We need to get them back in school, whatever that might look like. And I know there's a lot of different models out there of what that might look like in the fall. But we need it to happen. We need to get that started. But if we continue going to house parties, not me because I didn't go, but if this practice continues, right, we could have a whole different fall than what we're hoping for right now. So I beseech you, right? I ask you, please follow the guidelines. If your mayor is asking you, don't go to the house party, don't go. Not only that, but you have a beautiful alternative. Now I understand, please, if you have asthma, diabetes, if you have an underlying condition, don't go to anything. But if you believe you're healthy, you believe you're strong, you believe that, and you want to do something, do what they're telling you to do. Go to a Black Lives Matter protest, right? The epidemiologist, excuse me, I mispronounced that, but the medical doctor, Jennifer Nuzzi from Johns Hopkins University, said this. She said, the greater critical need right now, the greater public health risk is institutional racism over COVID-19 and the coronavirus. She gave a mandate. If you can, if you're willing, able, protest and demand an end to institutional racism. All right? So there's a perfect alternative to house parties, people, and that is go to a Black Lives Matter protest. Okay, I've heard it, right? I've heard people say, well, maybe it's the demonstrators. Maybe the demonstrators are the ones spreading the coronavirus. So our mayor here, Governor Baker in Massachusetts, tested 17,600 plus demonstrators for the coronavirus, COVID-19. 2.5% of those tests came back positive. That's the same number as any other demographic in the state. People were shocked, right? Because for a long time, there were those saying, oh, those demonstrators, they're the ones passing it on. But now we have the statistics, we have the numbers to prove that's not the truth. That is not the truth, right? It's not. They're not the ones passing it on. As a matter of fact, now we know how it's passing it on. Now that the bars and nightclubs are closed, it's the house parties. But anyhow, so 2.5%. So we know it's not the demonstrators. So people saw this number and they're like, oh my God, how is that, Well, they're all wearing masks, which, for the most part is true. I've been to many protests here in the state, and most everybody, if not everybody, is wearing a mask, the ones I've been to. So there's truth in that. And we know masks slow things down, or stop it if they don't slow the things down. So then what? Well, they're young. Oh, they're all young, right? Young people don't get this or whatever. Young people get it. We know that. They might test, and they get it, and they, some of them might be asymptomatic or whatnot, but they get it. So, but yeah, okay, they're, on the younger side, right? They're Obama kids. They're not Clinton kids or Reagan kids, right? They're Obama kids. They're on the younger side. But, I was at the, in Boston yesterday at the Black Lives Matter protest, just across the river. I live just across the river. And I'll tell you what, there are people beyond Reagan kids there. There are people well into their 60s and 70s. So although the demographic might be slightly younger, it's not that much younger, I guarantee you that, because I've been out. So what, what is this, Well, why is it only 2.5%? Why are those the numbers? Well, let me share with you the revelation I had yesterday. So I'm there at the protest, and I got a good 10 feet of social distance from me to the next protester, demonstrator, and revelation hit me. I said, oh my God. I said, the reason why these numbers are the way they are is because we're here on mandate, not only from public health officials, but mandate from the divine, because the divine is justice, and the divine wants to see justice played out, right? The divine people, I'm going to tell you right now, the divine is on the side of the protester. The divine is on the side of justice, not on the side of Trump, right? The man who on the eve of 4th of July, on sacred ground that the Supreme Court ruled was taken illegally from the Sioux Nation, on that ground stood and spewed hateful messages about Black Lives Matter protesters, and all the while propping up idols to white supremacy. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. We know the divine is for justice and against idol worship. So anyhow, this is the revelation I had yesterday. I said, OMG, oh my God. I said, there's a divine protection. A divine protection. There's a covering here at this peaceful protest. I said, that's why the numbers are the numbers. I said, yeah, everybody's wearing a mask. Yeah, slightly younger audience. Okay. Yeah, it's open air. I get it. But it's also mandate. I mean, there's a covering, not just from the public health officials, but a covering from the divine, because the divine is justice, which means we are justice. So I'm going to go ahead now and give some examples, talk about miracles. So a friend of mine, we're going to call her Ms. H, because the letter of her first name is the letter H. So Ms. H, this was right before the pandemic. It was back in February. And Ms. H says, Beto, she said, I feel like I got the weight of the shoulders on me. She said, I have my small business, and we've been operating for almost 2 years now, a year and a half. Full-time, it's been my full-time job, but we started it, this business even before then. And I said, well, what's going on? If I can help, let me know. She said, well, payroll, it's hard. We don't got the money for payroll. Every month I'm stressed out. I got bills to pay and this and that. And it's really stressful. I said, okay. I said, if you allow me to say a scientific prayer for you, and I got a secret weapon, right? And those of you who've heard me talk before know, I pull my mom in to work with me on scientific prayers, because when two are in agreement, the power is unlimited. Even when you're one person, it's unlimited. But when you're two, it's even that much more unlimited. But I got a secret weapon I can bring in, and we can say this prayer for you to help alleviate the stress. And so she said, okay. I said, well, what else? What else is going on? Is there anything else? She said, well, I can really use some volunteers. She said, but with specific skills. I said, what are those skills? Share with me. She said, well, one is around marketing, and the other would be around bookkeeping. And she shared a little information. I said, okay. So I took it back, brought my, got the phone, brought my secret weapon in, and we did the scientific prayer. And when I talk about scientific prayer, it's a 3-step. Number 1, the request, right? You make the request. Number 2, you visualize it. You visualize it coming into existence. And number 3, you speak it into existence. So we did the scientific prayer, and a few months passed, and just recently, a few weeks ago, during a pandemic, right, which is why I entitled this episode, Miracles Amidst the Pandemic, she called, she said, I can't believe it. I said, what happened? She said, I've got a year's worth of payroll in the bank right now. I said, you got to be kidding me. She said, no. I said, I said, well, you remember we said that prayer. She said, I know, it's incredible, it's a miracle. She said, especially at this time, right, during coronavirus and this pandemic, I can't believe it. I got a year's worth of payroll now in the bank. Like, the stress has just like been lifted. And I said, well, what else? She said, well, remember the marketing? I said, yeah. She said, well, this young man, he's started volunteering with us, and he's worked with us before, and he came up with this great idea to do the marketing directly to the people's cell phones, our customers' cell phones, and it's just been revolutionary. I said, OMG, that's awesome. And I said, well, what about the bookkeeping? She said, oh my God, I got this resource now, and it's working phenomenal with the bookkeeping, saving so much time. And I said, it's a miracle. She said, yeah, right? Miracles amidst the pandemic. Unbelievable. So what are some other miracles I can share with you? My friend, we'll call her Ms. M, because her first initial of her first name is M. Ms. M called me the other day, and she said, Beto, the bracelets, they work. So if you weren't here at the beginning, I shared. But I give away these 3 bracelets, right? This one top gray is Manifest Justice. The one in blue is Manifest Abundance. And the one in black is Manifest Immortality. And I give them away as a set. No cost. Everything I do, I sponsor myself. There's no cost. So anyhow, she said, your bracelets work. I said, tell me more. She said, well, I got this phenomenal business idea. It just came to me. It just manifested. I said, well, tell me more. She said, well, it meets a critical need in the community, and I reached out to several people, and they already want to partner with me. I got partners lined up. She said, it just came to me last night, and everybody's really excited about it, and I'm getting to work on it, and I'm going to get my license together and all this kind of stuff. And so she's just ecstatic about this business idea that she has. So what else? What other examples of miracles that I can share? We'll call her Aunt M, or Tia M, right? In Spanish, Aunt is Tia. So Tia M wanted a partner. She wanted a husband. And so she did what she's smart. She did what I do. She got the secret weapon on the phone. She got my mom on the phone. And so as my mom will do, she said, give me the specs. So she said, well, I want him to look like this, right? I want him to have this background, the emotional this and the spiritual that. And so they laid out all the specs. They requested it. They visualized it, and they spoke it into existence. And now she has her partner just manifested. I mean, he meets each and every spec that they laid out. Unbelievable. They're married now. He's actually going to be semi-retiring, if not semi-retiring soon, because he's going to go out and be a minister. That's his calling, and he's really excited about that. So there's an example of a miracle. What other miracles? My mom herself, back in the late 70s, early 80s, that's when she discovered the law of attraction and started applying it to her life. So she used to wear these big Coke bottle glasses, right? I mean, big glasses. And her eyesight was not good at that time. And anyway, one day I wake up and I go downstairs for breakfast, and she's not wearing her glasses. And I'm like, Mom, where's your glasses? She's like, oh, I don't need them no more. I'm like, oh, what? I'm like 10, 11 years old, right? I'm like, huh? She said, oh no, it manifested. I got my 20/20 vision back. Wow. I said, so soon I will get my 20/20 vision back too. So I'm speaking that into existence right now. Another friend, we'll call her Ms. J, because her first initial of her first name is J. In her middle age, she started doing serious exercise around stretching. She grew 2 inches. She grew 2 inches in middle age, way past the time they tell you that your body's not going to grow anymore. She grew 2 inches. Unbelievable. I heard that and I claimed it, because I'm 5'10". I want to be 6 foot. I got a 6'4" brother, 6'4" dad, 6'3" cousin, 6'5" uncle. I'm like, I claim that for myself. I want 2 more inches of height. I'm going to be 6'5". I'm speaking that into existence right now on this live show. So the miracles are out there. The examples are out there. It's all about unveiling truth, right? It's all about unveiling truth. Because at the end of the day, we are health, right? That's truth, right? COVID-19 is real. Joblessness is real. I get that, but we are truth. Not only that, but we are stardust. What do I mean by that? Back in 1970, Joni Mitchell, the musical artist Joni Mitchell, and you can Google this, she sang a song, she wrote and sang a song, and in that song she says, "We are stardust." Not too long ago in the National Geographic, again you can Google this, National Geographic said, Joni Mitchell's right. Joni Mitchell is right. We are stardust. So in this article, these, I believe they're from Stanford University, these PhDs who study this said, no, it's true, we are stardust. Inside each and every one of us, there is dust particles of stars that existed millions, billions, even trillions of years ago. Not only that, but in each and every one of us, there are particles of dust that were there at the beginning of the universe. And because we are stardust, our bodies have the ability to regenerate themselves. Story, example. Vinnie Paz, his real name was Vinnie Pazienza. He actually legally changed it to Vinnie Paz, P-A-Z, which in Spanish means peace. He's Italian. And he was the pride of Providence, Rhode Island. He's a boxer. World champion at the time, Vinnie Paz. And he was in a bad car accident. He ended up suffering a broken neck, right? They put a halo on his head, right? He walked around with one of those big halos. The doctors say, Vinnie, we're sorry, but you're not going to box again, young man. Matter of fact, you might not even walk again. So Vinnie wouldn't accept it, right? Vinnie wouldn't accept it. And as soon as he could, he started training again. And before you know it, not only was he walking again, but he was boxing again. Not only was he boxing again, but he became champ again. Not only did Vinnie Paz become champ again, but he defeated twice Roberto Duran, arguably the greatest lightweight champion of the world, one of the greatest champions of the world, the man who defeated Sugar Ray Leonard. I mean, Roberto Duran, one of the best. He defeated him twice. This is Vinnie Paz after suffering a broken neck. How did he do it? The stardust inside Vinnie Paz activated. So if you're out there and if you're suffering from diabetes, if you got some sort of asthma, whatever it is, know that you are health. You're created in the image of the divine. You are health, but you're also stardust. And if we can activate that stardust inside of you, your body can regenerate itself, and you can live a life without that. Because it's not truth. It's reality. I get it. You're suffering from it, but it's not truth. And so that's why I'm offering up. I'm not a televangelist. I don't take money. I sponsor everything myself. But if you want me to lift up a scientific prayer for you, I'm more than happy to do that. Some of you have my cell phone number, so you can text me, call me. If you don't, you can IM me, right? Message me directly, and I'll go ahead and do that for you. Bring in my secret weapon, and we'll get it done for you. But I want to end with this, talking a little bit about brain plasticity, neuroplasticity. If you've read my posts, if you've watched the live shows, this is one of the things I talk about. So brain plasticity or neuroplasticity teaches us that at any age, we can learn new things, all right? So you don't have to be 8 years old to learn a new language. You can learn anything you want at any age because of brain plasticity. Not only that, but we can overcome trauma through brain plasticity. So I started this episode talking about the great teacher and how he conquered death, right? Rose himself from the dead and others like his good friend Lazarus. So what the great teacher did in scientific terms is he overcame the trauma, right? That trauma of death, right? And he said, no, that's might be reality, but it's not truth. The truth is I'm life, right? I'm life. Brain plasticity shows we can overcome that trauma. So whatever trauma you might be dealing with, that can be overcome. That's not who you are. It might be reality right now. The suffering might be reality, but it's not who you are. We're life. We're health. We're abundant wealth. Those are the things we are because we are created in the image of the divine. So I'm going to stop now. I'm going to go ahead and end this, but I want to thank you very much for participating in my live show. I'll be back here again next week. And again, I'm offering free service. Again, I sponsor everything, no charge. But if you'd like me to lift up a scientific prayer request for you, go ahead. If you have my phone number, you can text me or phone me. Or if you don't, you can go ahead and message me here on Facebook or on Instagram. And I'll be more than happy to do that. I'll bring in my secret weapon and we'll go to work for you. Again, not a televangelist, so there's no charge. And if you don't have your set of bracelets, please DM or IM me and I'll get those out to you. And again, I do one-on-one coaching. It's not endless. Just like these, there's a limit, right? It's cost prohibitive to ship those outside the U.S. Well, it's time prohibitive for me to give one-on-one endless coaching because I do have a day job that helps, that pays my bills. And I'm very fortunate and grateful for that. But I can do, a free consultation, 30, 45 minutes, whatnot. And usually with one consultation, typically that's enough and you're off and running, especially with these live or these Facebook Lives if you watch these and read my posts. So I'm going to go ahead and end now. Thank you for joining. Hope you have a fabulous rest of your day and rest of your Sunday, and hope you can catch the live show again next week. Bye-bye.